Hey, it's Nathan again, and today we are going to be talking about the opportunities. Now, the opportunities is a pipeline. Now, it can look a bit overwhelming sometimes, but I'm just going to explain to you once again, really super simply, what you'll need to understand in your day-to-day running of the business for either yourself or your team to really get a fundamental, grasp of what it all means. Now, there's usually a link between the sales pipeline, or wherever you want to call it, the opportunity stages, and then the link between your opportunity stages and the automations and the communications they're getting. So the opportunity stages have a few major parts to play within your business. And the first one is going to be your AI context, so the context of your leads. What I mean by that is that the actual stages that your leads are in within this pipeline over here, we have built in the back end of the system to tell our AI what is going on. What I mean by that is that, sure, when your lead comes in and maybe they say, let's say, they have like problem A, and then another lead comes in and they have problem B. The communication of the person that has problem A and problem B are different in the SMS, the emails, the text, so on and so forth, right? But there's another contextual change which is driven by the pipeline or the opportunity stages that we have. What I mean by that is that when person A comes along and they sign in a form and they get their communication, that is specific to where they are at in the customer journey, okay? Now, when they go into, let's say they booked an appointment, this is very different from person A when they first signed up to when they booked the appointment. Their literal changes of the customer journey is different. And so we give the context to our AI to understand the difference between not only their pain points or whoever they are in terms of the messaging, but also the stage of where they are at in the journey with your business. Now, within this, there's going to be a few things that you want to pay attention to. And each of these corresponds to a set of automations. I'll just quickly show you very quickly what that can look like. Okay, so let me just change to the automations tab. So you'll see here lead opt-in flow, nurture sequence, appointment booking, assistant flows, pipeline control flows, and that's your opportunity stages, right? But if you want to look at the lead flow, that would be related to the new lead and the short-term nurture and the hot lead section. So your new leads are going to be people that come in through opting into a form, opting into a Facebook ad, wherever you have different opt-in points for your leads. Your hot leads are those that are being spoken to by AI assistants. Okay, so if there is a hot lead, it means that someone has probably replied to your speed to lead. So when they come in as new leads, you're going to have them, let's say they fill in a form or fill in a Facebook. Usually your speed to lead, your AI agent messages them within the first 30 seconds. If they then respond to then be qualified by the AI assistant, they're going to be a hot lead. Now, if they do not reply, they are not a hot lead, and they will be moved into a short nurture. And I'll break those flows down in a separate lesson. But in the short-term nurture, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a set of either AI texting and calling. Depends on the plan you've signed up on. It might just be AI texting. And the main mission there is to move them to the next stage of the pipeline, which is getting as many of your leads to be as qualified as possible and booked in to your services. Now, if they then go through this short-term nurture, which is essentially a set of messages to push them towards being qualified to book an appointment, if they do not respond during this period of time, they will be moved into what we call the forever follow-up. Now, this is in the long-term nurture stage. So when you go into your pipeline, you might see leads in here, and that means that there are leads sort of first try and be qualified in your speed to lead flow. Then, if they reply, you're going to have, in that period of time, any AI that's currently talking to your leads will be in the hot leads section. In the short-term nurture, you're going to have the leads that have been reached out to on the speed to lead section, and not replied, and so they're being nurtured in a short period of time, usually between day 1 and 5 or 7 roughly. If they don't reply during this time, they're then going to be moved into your long-term nurture. So when you see people in the long-term nurture, you can sit there and think to yourself, these are my leads that haven't really responded, but we're just dripping them with information, trying to hook them back into booking an appointment with relevant sort of SMS or email and calling depending on the plan you signed up with. So that's going on here, and we'll go into a bit of those flows afterwards. Now, some of these pipeline stages might be a bit different when you sign up, but the context kind of remains the same. You will then have your appointment booking stage. Your appointment booking stage, self-explanatory, is those that have booked an appointment with you. So all the people in here will be upcoming booked appointments that you're ready to have. You'll then have the appointment cancellation. Now again, this is all automatic, right? You can obviously add manually appointments in here if you want, or remove them. You can, but we obviously automate a lot of this for you. If they cancel an appointment, so let's say they send a text and they want to cancel, it will automatically get moved to the cancelling stage, which creates another set of automations, another set of communication to then help them rebook into a feasible time slot for them that suits your availability and their availability. And they'll be able to text an AI to set that, or use a calendar on your site, where it may be, to then move them back into the appointment book stage. You then might have appointments that are booked, but then they don't show up to a service or where it may be. It depends on your niche. As I said, we might change and amend these pipeline stages to fit your business. But if they don't show, let's say you have like a brick and mortar store and they don't show, then you either will move them physically over here, and that's going to set off another chain of communication, where all you're really doing is you're like the puppet master of a really powerful system. So you're like, instead of me having to text and follow this person up and remember this stuff all the time, it just moves to the no-show stage, and then our system kind of takes care of the rest. And those are really the main things. Honestly, the main things you want to focus on is the new leads, hot leads, short-term nurture, booked, appointment cancelled, no-show, and then your long-term nurture. The one thing you will see in here, that will be like names like reactivation or something for you, is if you have a set of leads that you want reactivated, as in they've not responded, maybe you're using another CRM, and when you join our system and you want to reactivate your leads, and you're on that plan, we will simply push them into the reactivation stage, which will set off a relevant communication with our system. And if they reply in the reactivation stage, they'll then move to the hot leads to then be nurtured, and then they'll be moving to the booked. But they'll have relevant tags so that you can see who's come from where. And so to summarize your opportunities is really a nice overall view of a breakdown of what stages your leads are in, who's booked appointments, who's being nurtured. And within this, as you can see, you'll see like their opportunity value, their names, any tags. Or if I click in, you'll then be able to see a breakdown similar to the conversations tab. You'll go into their conversation. So you'll see their conversation from here, all the information. So once you set this up, you'll see a bunch of things filled in. And that's kind of the main process that you'll need to know. As I said, if you have any other questions regarding this, you can just hit this button over here, your chat widget. And if it's in hours, we'll obviously be able to change things or help you with that. And then you can also assess the university and the knowledge base with here. I will remind you, if an AI assistant does reply, it's not like a rubbish robot. I teach this on absolutely everything I know, so that you can have like my brain available to you 24/7. If there is any knowledge that's missing, just know, and I can add that in, so that next time you won't have the same problem twice. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll catch you on the next one.